You're listening to the Coach's Journey podcast, exposing the struggles and celebrating the successes in the life of coaches who are action takers and creating authentic impact in today's world. Whether you're just starting out, expanding your reach, or exploding your impact, you're in the right place right now. Stay tuned and be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Now, here are your hosts of the Coach's Journey podcast.
Kelly, as you've kind of filled up, as you've put your stuff out and you've maximized your time and your ability to serve, how have you shifted your business kind of structure?
Yeah.
And how are you looking at that going forward as well?
Okay. So I think just to kind of hit those new coaches, I think whether it's market research calls or just exploratory discovery calls, get as many as possible till you have a full private roster, whatever that means. It means something different for different people. So what I personally do is Monday through Wednesday, I work with private clients. And then Thursday and Friday, I do corporate consulting. So that's how I've personally chose to do it. But I think once you hit your private client, whatever that magic number is for you, then the next natural thing is to put them in a group and then make your group price point the price of your private mentorship. And now the close proximity to private mentorship, your fees go up for private mentorship. So, and then all my individual clients, because I would say I have a good split of 50% coaches. I work with so many coaches, and then I work with real estate agents, athletes, CEOs, and executives. Those are all people that are connected to other people. All those people brought me into their companies. They're high-level people in their companies. So again, this goes back to me wanting to get results fast because they're like, you've changed. You look different. How are you making so much money? Oh, that was my coach, Kelly. Boom. Now I'm in. You know what I mean? So I leverage people and take care of people, and people take care of me. So then my private clients, they're like, hey, so then I would start doing emotional intelligence trainings inside organizations. And then I would start working with other high-level people. And then it kind of just expanded from there. But none of this was in my blueprint of how I thought it was going to be. And I think when you're an entrepreneur, surrender is key. Because we often show up with one way, how we think it's going to look or feel. And when it looks different, we feel like we're not successful. Are we not successful, or are there other synchronicities and possibilities right in front of you, but you can't see them because you think it has to work this way? I never tried to enter into somebody's container to be the mindset expert. I never by default said I was going to start bringing on corporate consulting. And now we have a whole company called Culture Key Consulting. Like, those happened by me being open to the possibilities in front of me and focusing on just serving.
Yeah, I really love that theme of service in the background. And I feel like, and I just had a conversation with another coach that she really knows that she has ideal clients around her, but she can't offer the conversation. I know she's a good coach for sure.
Okay. So
she struggles with that, right? And this is like, I know early on in my path, I had opportunities. I either didn't notice them, or I was too afraid to approach them, one or the other. And I would do all the background stuff. Oh, let me set up this. Let me set up that. It's all
self-sabotaging.
Yeah, it's all like self-sabotage tactics. And at some level, I knew it. I just never acknowledged it to myself. And so I think that's why I feel like the service part is that you're honing in on so important. And that's actually connected to our skill sets. The growth that we've had as a human being, as a coach, and also the things that we're learning where we can serve others with. So we focus too much on, how is the sales offer part going to be? How is this going to be? And like, I listen to coaching calls to just give feedback and part of our contracts. And most of my feedback is coaching here. Offer part is minimal.
Yeah.
Because the whole session didn't go right. The rapport wasn't established properly. The connection wasn't established. There was no depth. There was no challenge. There was too much teaching, like stuff like that. And by the time they got to the offer part of the discovery call or sales call, is like, it didn't mean anything because you could have been perfect in that part. You just blew the whole thing.
Yeah.
So really getting your skills honed in, and I love what you said. It's just like this is something I learned from Rich Litvin. It's like when I read that in his book, he's like, if you really want to be an extraordinary coach, coach, and coach. It does not matter who you coach, but coach, and coach. He's like, what sets me apart is that I went out there and coached a lot of people. And literally, I adopted that.
Okay, you said two things that I want to riff off on. You're exactly right. At one point, I would be coaching, it's so insane. I can't even believe it. 40 to 50 people for 30 minutes each a week. How can you not? I was at one point in the peak before I got decided to work smarter, not harder, but I had to get out there. It's too much. But how can you not get good? How can you not get good when you're working with hundreds by this point in time of different people with different problems back to back to back? That's why you have to go out and just be coaching, even if you're not getting paid right now, because that's how you get good. But you said something about the fear about the self-sabotage. This is like next level thinking. So after my clients unbecome, then we move into highest self and leadership. So once you've kind of let some of those go, our fears serve us. We actually enjoy, in a weird way, the doom and gloom. So it's our fears keep us stuck. Here's a basic example. One of my clients, she's a real estate agent. She's had so much money that she has a lot of money. And then she has had allocated a certain amount of money to redo her kitchen. We have cleared and healed, and she's gotten everything else out of the way. She was self-sabotaging and not doing her kitchen, because once she does her kitchen, we've released all those fears. That was a lot of inner child stuff coming through with her kitchen, why she kept it, because it was keeping her to her roots of like small and simple. And when she let that last thing go, which was a fear she was holding on to redo it, who am I now if I've released all my fears? So I think fear work, when you get to, once you're past the beginning stages, leveraging and leaning into your fears and realizing they are self-satisfying and giving you a dopamine hit just in the wrong angle, then that's the real work, is when you lean into those fears.
Yeah. I can tell that you have done a lot of work and conversations around all of this, which is so fascinating to hear and listen to. I feel like we could go on probably for another hour. I know you've got some stuff scheduled on your day today. So we have 4 questions that we all would love to ask all of our guests. And so given the amount of breadth that you have worked with people on mindset and business, thinking about all of the books that you've consumed and read, what would you say is one of the most influential books for you in your coaching journey?
Okay. There's so many books. I feel like I have 10 books going at any given time. Think Like a Monk was good for me. Do I need to be able to give you the title and the author?
No.
Is that by Jay Shetty?
Yes. Because I feel I mean, obviously it's what I'm passionate about. This is like my Super Bowl when we get into mindset and leadership and stuff. So I get so hyped, but it's just because I see the power of it. So anything you can do, I think of our body. Oh, wait, I'm going off on a tangent. Think Like a Monk. There's my answer. Go off on
a tangent. It's okay.
Okay. So I feel like how I treat our business is your body is your capacity to earn. That's your energetic wealth container. So if you don't have the space for the abundance or your dreams, your desires, your calling in, then you can't get to that next level. Here's another analogy is like a piece of pizza. People can think about pizza easier. There's 8 slices. If you're worried about, again, going back to mindset, if you're worried about, this is the book, why it's important to keep your mind clear. If you've got family obligations and financial obligations and kids, and you're wearing many hats, and then maybe you have a health crisis or aging parents, each one of those things take up a piece of the pie. So if you can clear them, you have more space for what you're calling in. So the reason I think it's powerful, and I was the girl who also couldn't meditate for 1 minute. So like, if you told me to sit still for 1 minute, I was going to die. So it's like, I think there's so much power in unbecoming and surrender. And that's what that book is about, Unbecoming.
Perfect. And who doesn't want more pieces of the pizza? I know, I do.
Right?
I love that visual. I just actually realized as soon as you said that, like I'm really attracted to personalities who are really different from me. In that sense, I think that's why I approached. Like I'm like, how do you think like that? So it's like Kelly and Sherry, we were both very on the opposite spectrum of how I am. Like when I read that, I could tell when you said think like a monk. I like the opposite type of books. Then I love that book, but I'm more like that. I like the other. I like your energy because I've gained a lot from that kind of like my energy. The way I've developed is being around people like you guys. So
Right.
That's awesome. Well, so how do you keep up your energy, Kelly? What are some of the hobbies that you like to do in your off time?
I would say, okay, it's not hobbies. It's not, I do feel like you're lit up by your life. And I always do chase a lighter feeling. I think that's important. So I'm doing a lot of like leaning into my highest self. What would my highest self do? What would this next version of me do? How would she show up? How would she speak? How would she act? But I think my secret sauce really comes down to gratitude. The very first thing I tell any client that ever comes into my space, your first homework is before your feet hit the floor any day of the week, you need to set a timer on your phone, and you need to give a person, place, or thing, love, light, prayers, healing, whatever you are, doesn't matter. You have to lean into someone and something else. Most of us wake up worrying about yesterday's problems. Our bodies are dehydrated. That's why we need a drink in the morning. We're also emotionally dehydrated. The very first feeling you give it in the morning is how you're going to operate. And it's like priming you for the day, good in, good out. Regardless of however I'm feeling, it doesn't matter because I switch the feeling in my body and then perform from that alter state the rest of the day. So gratitude every morning, every day.
Good, solid advice. Absolutely. What do you think, Kelly, separates a successful coach from the coaches that start and try, but really never get any traction and they just give up?
Grit and mindset and consistency. I would say mindset is king and consistency is queen. So you can't have one without the other. I need you to leverage your mindset because you are your greatest asset. Beyond that, you need to have solid KPIs. We're not wishy-washy. You can't show up and expect a different solution for not working. So you have to have the duality of hard work. Not hard, because I work way less and make way more than I ever did owning a brick and mortar. Your version of hard, but when you are working, you work hard, and it has to be consistent. So I do a few things consistently well. I show up and I serve. We're back to that again. And you have to lean into. I'm a big component of inviting people into gray space. Most people are very black and white, kind of more in the drive, the masculine energy. Right away, you're getting into gray space because in all these gap periods, it's whatever your faith is, whatever your thing is, it doesn't matter. You have to learn to leverage faith versus fear in the gap. There's gaps. You're an entrepreneur. If you don't want the gaps and you don't want the roller coaster, again, go get a job. That's not what this is. This is your passion, and the possibility is what drives you as a coach.
Yeah. Last question. Squeak it in before we're done. Where do you think the field of coaching is headed?
Okay. That's roughly. I feel like there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in the online industry. So I feel like there's a more of a desire to come back to community. There's a lot of culture work in companies and organizations, but there's a lot to come back to authenticity. Anybody can get somebody a couple of quick results with making some money, or a lot of complaints I hear from the coaching industry, to be honest, is I paid them and then the performance or what I expected didn't match. I feel like when you charge mine's high ticket coaching. So when you charge a high price, you need to give a high value and a high service and get them results quickly. And I feel like it's become, when I first entered the online thing, the dream thing was $10,000 months. Then all of a sudden it became $100,000 months. And then now it's like $1 million months is like what people strive for. Like, you're chasing money. That, like, I want everybody to make a ton of money, but when you're chasing money, you're always in misery. That's a false positive. You're going to come back to, is this as good as it gets? Is this as good as it gets? But if you're serving and you stay tuned to your deeper why, which for me, my legacy is to have people earn, to have more money, more balance, more bank, and more peace. So that's what I stay focused on. So I think it's coming back to integrity, authenticity, and being able to back up what you say you can do. Because there's a lot of people, it's kind of has become maybe an easy angle for some people to come into. Oh, I've done this, so I can do this. Coaching, we all are 2 to 3, whatever, 5 steps ahead of our ideal client. But I think people are becoming more aware of where they're spending the money and want to make sure that it's backed up with the performance, because a lot of people out there are getting burned. I think there's a big drive to community again. And there's a big drive to really have that close connection again. Did that answer your question to support?
Absolutely. Okay. Kelly, I'm sure that everybody's like, okay, I want to hear more. I want more of that. Okay. I want more of that. Where can people find you online? Because you're everywhere, right?
Yeah. And what I was going to say, I'm going to share one last thing on social media, because I know Faisal asked me to touch on that. TikTok and YouTube are more exposure platforms where you're using those to leverage, but then draw people in to where you're going to nurture them. Because Instagram is not a nurturing platform. Facebook is middle. So you have to use the larger platforms to get more eyes on you and then draw the traffic in there. So actually here 5 years later, I'm having my website redone because I was like, okay, maybe I should do it. You can go to my website, but it's under construction. That's kellyadamscoaching.com. But I'm on LinkedIn and Instagram the most, Kelly Adams Coaching.
Awesome. Excellent. Kelly, thank you so much for sharing your story, your time, your energy, your wisdom with Faisal.
I know. I got so much wisdom today.
And the rest of us. This was a true pleasure and delight. And folks, those of you that are listening, make sure you share this with your coaching friends. People need to, these are the conversations, these are the learnings from other coaches that we all need. We all need to understand this is hard, but it's worthy, and there is a path forward. How do you do it? And who do you work with? Who do you trust? All of those things. So like this, subscribe, give us a review, please. Honestly, if you're listening to this in podcast, reviews are everything. Just get this out there, and we appreciate your guys listening and giving us feedback and commenting and all of the good things that you do.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
You're listening to the Coach's Journey podcast.